Welcome to the European Innovation Council podcast series, where we discuss some of the hot topics surrounding game-changing deep tech innovation. Today, we're once again shining the spotlight on women's outstanding contributions to innovation and tech across Europe and beyond. Here with us today is Angèle Giuliano and Mary McKenna, two of the driving forces behind the EIC-powered Women Tech EU programme and fierce advocates of female leadership and entrepreneurship across Europe. Thank you very much for joining us, ladies. First of all, Angèle and Mary, can I ask you to introduce yourselves and also explain a little bit your role within the Women Tech EU team?
Yeah, hello everybody. So I'm Angèle Giuliano. I'm an entrepreneur from Malta, and I've been in different types of tech businesses for around 25 years. Nowadays, I'm also a business angel, which allows me also to see things from a different angle. And my link to the EIC is, like Mary, I am a jury member, and I'm also an EIC ambassador. And I'm also part of the core team, which is sort of the top management of the project. My specific role is leading the dissemination and communication, which means that I'm one of those that has to go all around Europe or on all sorts of social media and locations, just telling everybody about our project.
Thank you, Angèle. And same question to you, Mary. Tell us
Hello,
about
everyone. My name is Mary McKenna. I'm based in Donegal in Ireland. And like Angèle, I'm also a serial tech entrepreneur and an angel investor. I was a deep tech founder myself, and I sold that business about 10 years ago. And so it brings a different sort of perspective if you're an entrepreneur yourself and an investor to helping people with their startups and their scale-ups, because really you know the end game for where they're going to and you can help them get there quickly. And like Angèle, I wear a few different hats. So I'm also an entrepreneur in residence at the University of Oxford. And like Angèle, I work for EIC on a few different programmes.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mary. And what's your role behind the Women Tech EU team?
And within Women Tech EU, Awaken Hub is one of the core partners, and our team takes care of the evaluations of the applications, and we also oversee the provision of the business advisory services that are being offered to the participants that are selected.
Fantastic. Very clear. Thank you very much, Mary. And Angèle, next question to you. Can you explain a little bit more about the program and why is it that we need such a program?
Yeah, so we are a 2-year project, and within these 2 years, we're going to be having 4 open calls, from which we're going to be choosing 160 women in total, which are, as we of course already said, entrepreneurs in deep tech. Then our sort of award is split into 2 parts. On one side, there is a grant of 75,000 euros. And on the other side, there is a whole service program, which the winner women will be part of. And this will help them to fix their commercialization strategy, how they pitch, have advice on the different aspects of their business. Also, for example, meet investors, meet corporates, also meet each other. I mean, we are also building, in a way, a community between them. And what is most important is this program is, of course, aimed to really help the women level up, to help them. These are early stage entrepreneurs, and we need to really guide them and support them until they grow. Now, why is this needed? Many might think, aren't there enough funds or support? Actually not, and especially in some countries of the EU. And here I want to also let people understand that, it's different, for example, what you find in Germany vis-a-vis what you find in Armenia, It's different, the type of support that you find, especially for women entrepreneurs, and even more so for those in deep tech. I think the tech element has been around a lot, but the deep tech element is really quite unique, quite niche, and quite difficult for a number of reasons, because of course the lead time to market is so much longer. When it comes to funding, it's especially difficult. I mean, from statistics, we know that only about 2% of all the investment funding in Europe goes to women-led companies where they are, all women. Of course, there are those which are women participating in top management, but our aim here is to really help the entrepreneurs.
Fantastic, thank you, Angèle. And a question here for you, Mary. What does the ideal Women Tech EU awardee look like to you? Because presumably you get a lot of applications to the program, and some of them are very suitable and others less so. So when we're speaking to our audience here that possibly has a lot of women thinking, okay, maybe this is for me, can you tell them what are you looking for in an applicant?
That's a great question, Aoife, and I think there are a couple of separate parts to this. So first of all, there's the eligibility criteria, which everybody can go online and read. Your company must be less than 8 years old, you must be early stage, your product or service must be at TRL 3 to 6 and those sorts of things. But in my view, the money is the least part of what this program offers. So we're really looking for awardees that have a growth mindset and appreciate all the different aspects that this program can help them with. Because yes, there's a grant of €75,000. Yes, that this brings you into a position where you are more visible to EIC and other programs, but it also gives you an opportunity to really scale your business if you come along with an open mind and you want to engage and participate, because there's access to the expertise that is available already within EIC through the business advisory services, but there's also access to a program of services and peer-to-peer supports that we have developed specifically for this new program, including fantastic things like deep dive interactive sessions with domain experts, which you participate in as a small group of 6 awardees together, so that you really start to build your network and you have access to the experts, but you also have access to your peers and you make a lot out of that. So I would say, in summary, that there's a lot of expertise on offer here, but you must come along to the program with an open mind, really wanting to grab that with 2 hands and make the most of it for yourself and for your company.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Mary. And the next question again is for you, Angèle. I know it's quite early days for the program, but can you share any early success stories about what's happening there, supporting these women in tech?
Indeed, even though we're only roughly 6-7 months into this program, but we have had so much feedback from all sides. So not only from the actual applicants themselves. For example, for our first call, we had 820 applicants, which is incredible. I mean, when you think that they, of course, knew we will only choose 40 per call, and we had so many apply. And however, what is even more heartwarming is we're also getting a lot of contacts from different regions of Europe and even outside of Europe. And we're getting a lot of feedback from different investors and agencies that want to see and join forces. How can they support? Because they are also seeing that this is a need. And personally, because I come from a widening country, I told you I'm from Malta. So for our first call, we had 38 different countries that applied. 22 of those were widening countries. So we're not the sort of usual suspects that you would think of in deep tech. And also, when we look at the sectors that applied, we have had, yes, a whole amount of interest from the sectors, especially AI and biotech and life sciences. However, what was also for us very important is we've managed to reach all the sectors of deep tech, including semiconductors, quantum, space. Of course, in these last three, we would like to reach even more, but it's really good to see that we have a great spread of sectors, of geographies, of women, really all sorts of diversity, let's put it this way, in our program. So we will be later on releasing more information about the winners. This will be found on our website, womentecheurope.eu, because again, one of the aims of our project is also to, publicize these best practices and case studies, because we believe that women need to see other women that are successful in order to say, yes, I can do it as well.
Fantastic. The early signs are incredible, Angèle, for such a young program. So thank you for sharing. And back to you, Mary. What advice would you give to women starting out in deep tech?
Yeah, so a deep tech business is so different at the outset from, say, somebody that's creating a SaaS business or something that's a lot more immediate, and I suppose the main difference is probably the timeline that you have in front of you. You're not going to be in market in 3 months or 6 months. And that's one of the reasons why our program allows people to apply that have already been trading for maybe up to 8 years. Because if you're developing an orphan drug or you're spinning something out of a university from PhD research, the likelihood is that you're on a long journey. And so I suppose, my advice would be that as a founder, you need to plan ahead for that, and you need to really figure out as early as you can what your milestones are and how you're going to fund each of those going forward. So this program's fabulous for getting you started with a little bit of money and some advice and support around scaling. But you need to think, if you're in deep tech, how you're going to do the next bit and the next bit and the next bit after that. Because really, when you're building a scaling business, the product that you're developing is only one part of it. Okay, it's an important part, but it is just one part. There are so many more things that you need to know about in terms of raising investment and finance, recruiting and selecting your team and creating a culture where people and the best people want to come and work for you. And I guess you also need to learn how to sell and do your marketing. And many times the deep tech founder doesn't have those skills or that expertise at the outset. So they need to figure out where they can get them from. And this program will help you with that.
Fantastic, Mary. So very clear, all the different kinds of support that you can avail of as a woman who is aspiring to grow their deep tech company and their company, which is already been somewhat established, Mary, if I understand correctly, but they're ready to really grow, scale and develop there. Angèle, back to you. So presumably we have some male listeners out there from the tech industry. What would you ask of them so that they can best support women in tech?
Well, the very clear message would be, the next deep tech company you found it with a woman. Because what we believe is in really having gender balanced companies. So we're not advocating women only, we're advocating that there are men and women working together with their own expertise, with their own strong points, with their own diversity together within deep tech. And also to help us spread the word. I think the networks of many people, if they are already working in deep tech, whether they are male or women, will be quite niche sometimes. So it could be that there are contacts that these male listeners might have that might have not heard of our program, in which case we really ask them to help us spread the word and tell the women that they know, the colleagues that they might have working in deep tech, to look us up and see if they can also join us.
And another question for you, Angèle. I think we've covered it a little bit, but let's hone in. What do you think are the biggest challenges women face when they're establishing and growing their deep tech company?
Well, I think, again, there are multiple dimensions to this question because, like, in a way, whether you're male or female, a startup will always face challenges. But we feel that when it is a woman establishing a deep tech company, it's really much more difficult to raise finance. It's really much more difficult to have the patience to stay the course, because we see that many women start a deep tech company, but because maybe they do not understand that this is going to take, several years, they might stop after 2-3 years and then go back to the corporate world where they might feel, maybe more at comfort. So definitely, therefore, the funding, the timing, the not being understood, and the need when, again, and this is not only women, this is also in general in deep tech, most of these women are scientists, and therefore not all of them are natural born entrepreneurs, and they need to understand that they need to create a bigger network where they have also other contacts, like us, for example, but there are so many other also programs today, accelerators, that would help them to augment their network, because they cannot stay, as an island. They really need to branch out.
Fantastic, thank you, Angèle. And let's go back to Mary, especially considering we know that you have been on this journey, as you highlighted earlier, establishing and growing a deep tech company. Mary, considering the challenges that Angèle has already highlighted, how can we encourage more women to take the leap into entrepreneurship, especially in the tech industry?
So, Aoife, I'm an optimist and I do an awful lot of work with early stage companies, and I don't think that's where the challenges or the issues lie. There is no shortage of women starting businesses and becoming entrepreneurs. I think the problems and the challenges come a little bit further down the line when they've perhaps got the first year over them, and that's where we see people sometimes falling away and going back into the corporate world. I think a lot of the issues are perhaps caused by the media and sort of the media hype that happens around entrepreneurship and the sort of the glamour shine that's put onto it. I mean, we all know that being an entrepreneur, particularly in those early days when you're a startup, is hard work. Nobody ever tells you about the amount of time that you'll spend on the road, or how you'll be able to pay all of your team but you don't pay yourself, or how you're going to live on beans on toast for the first 6 months, or all of those other things that are real challenges for entrepreneurs starting out. So I think what we can do as a agency and as a group of people that want to support entrepreneurs is to really figure out how to get women through those next stages when they're trying to work out who's going to look after their children while they're working a 12-hour day, who's going to help them figure out how they're going to raise investment and those sorts of things. That's where the supports that we offer can really add a lot of value. But I see no shortage of women starting businesses. That's not where the problem lies.
Very interesting. So the leap is not the issue. It's more that they need the support required to kind of keep it going and grow and develop.
As an optimist, I always say leap and a net will form, but that's perhaps not always the case.
No, but it's a really nice image there. So thank you very much, Mary. And Angèle, last question for you. Unfortunately, we're nearly at the end. I'd like to stay here talking to you ladies all day. But the last question, what is next for the program and how would you like to see it evolve?
Yes, so Of course, we're going to be launching more calls. So every few months, we do launch another call and we start the cycle all over again. So, like this, we're going to have 4 distinct cohorts of 40 women each. But we're already thinking sort of going bigger, going better, even afterwards. And like I mentioned previously, because we have all this interest sometimes from other ecosystem players, we have launched a call for what we're calling allies. So what would it mean to be an ally of the Women Tech EU program? So basically that you're with us thinking about the future, and these are normally also investors or regional development agencies, and that they will help us even maybe later on by putting their own hands in their pockets, to make it bigger, better, and to make sure a program as important as this would continue beyond the 2 years.
Fantastic. And Mary, just a final word from you on that. How would you like to see the program evolve?
For me, this program is all about the 160 women that we are supporting, really helping them make a difference to their business. So success for me will result in those women feeling optimistic about their future and really knowing where they go next. And of course, I'd like to see us supporting a lot more than 160 women. So if there's a way to do that, that would be wonderful.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And this brings us to the end of our episode. Thanks to Mary and Angèle for joining us, and thank you for your Trojan efforts supporting female deep tech entrepreneurship across Europe and indeed beyond. And to our audience, thank you for listening.